Good day everyone, this is the work of Group 3 and our topic is about the opening of the Philippines to world commerce. So first, let me enlighten you about the definition of the word commerce. So commerce is defined as the exchange of goods, services, commodities on a large scale. And it also involves the transportation of those goods from the supplier to the distributor. Then the Philippine ports are opened to world commerce, which means that the goods from the Philippines could be shipped out to any of the countries abroad. We can export our products and goods to different countries, and the goods from other countries can also be imported in the Philippines. Then there are many events happened during and after the opening of the Philippines to world commerce. On 1851, the Las Galleon arrived in Manila, and its route is from Manila to Acapulco. Then the rise of haciendas in the cash crop economy. Cash crop economy is where the crops grown by the farmers are intended for profit. Then the expansion of exports products in Europe to Suez Canal. The Philippines became a major exporter for sugar, tobacco, coffee, and abaca, and became well known in other parts of the world. On 1834 to 1873, different ports were opened. Sual Port in Pangasinan, Port in Iloilo, Port in Zamboanga, and Port of Cebu and Legazpi. Then the world turns its eye on the Philippines when the Royal Company of the Philippines, or in Spanish, the Real Campa de Filipinas, Governor General Felix Berenguer de Marquina, recommended that the King of Spain open Manila to world commerce. On September 6, 1834, the Philippines opened to world trade by a royal decree. Su Majestal, or Your Majesty, the King declares the Royal Company of the Philippines abolished and opened Manila's ports to world trade. Because Manila was a great harbor, it became one of the best cities to trade with, luring American, British, and other European and Asian merchants to its shores. As a result, Spain's economic supremacy lost its footing on the region. Modern methods of production and transportation, notably sugar mills and steamships, opened the Philippines for economic development. British, French, Dutch, and North American traders began to demand Philippine agricultural products, including sugar, cigars, and abaca. Sugar became leading export crop. So at this time, the sugar is the most abundant, or sugar is most abundant here in the Philippines. In 1834, Spain lifted the restrictions on the trade between foreign nations and the Philippines.
Rise of the Filipino middle class, the group of people below the aristocratic Spanish officials, families, and religious orders but higher. Filipinos who participated in the economic activities. When the Philippines was open to the world trade, they improved also their social influences and stature. So meaning stature is importance or reputation. Was able to send their children to schools not only in the Philippines but also abroad. The educated children of middle class families are Rizal, Del Pilar, Luna brothers, Juan Luna and Antonio Luna. They clamored for social and political equalities. They are initial propagandas of reform movement. The propaganda movement on 1872 and 1892 was the first Filipino nationalist movement led by Filipino elite and inspired by the proto-nationalist. Propagand- Propagandists were largely young men, often mestizos, creoles, whose families could afford to send them to study in Spanish universities in Madrid and Barcelona. So they were called ilustrados. Ilustrados meaning the enlightened ones learned. These are Juan Luna, Marcelo H. del Pilar, Antonio Luna, Marciano Pone, and Jose Rizal. That's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone. My name is Jimboy P. Canelio. My assigned topic is about the influx of liberal ideas. Ideas were brought by means of liberal orientation who came to the Philippines. So this means that many of the Spaniards came in our Philippines in order to share with their ideas and orient all the people here in the Philippines. So by the Illustrados who invaded them during their stay abroad. Books and magazines contains to the ideas of French and American revolutions. So in this time the the books and magazines are spread in our Philippines in order to gain a lot of uh, language or French language and American during the revolutions. The political thoughts of liberal thinkers. So many of the political thinkers uh, here in our country in order to share with their ideas about the one American language. So Filipino learn the democratic practices in Europe such as freedom of speech, freedoms of the press, freedom of speech, and free exchange of ideas among people. So it means that the Filipino learn on the democratic practices, which is in the Europe, such as freedom of press, freedom of speech, and freedom of exchange. And the introductions of modern technology, such as in 1854, the first modern technology made is the the mill, the mill. So the second is the 1873, the telegraph, and the third is the 1890, the telephone, and the Manila Dagupan Railway. So the second is the opening of the opening of the Suez Canal in 1969. It shortens the travels between Europe and Asia. Spaniards and European liberal came to the Philippines by Suez Canal. Among them are exiled acropolis from Mexico like Varela and the Valles whose subversive ideas. So in this time of God, the liberal ideas from French revolutions, which is November 17 in 1869, the Suez Canal was open to navigations. It made and the Philippines closer to the world trade, communications and travel. The canal and I think and 103 miles long and connects the Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea. The Philippines was opened by Spain to the world trade in 1834. So the Spaniards revolutions of 1868, the triumph of liberalism in Spain against the autocrat, autocratic autocratic rule of Isabella II in 1833 and 1869. The resounded across the seas to the course of their overseas and colonies the Filipinos came to enjoy for the first time the sweet taste of a liberal regime, including the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and other human rights. So, in the Philippines, in the Philippines, liberalism manifested itself as a trend to diminish the centralized absolutism of the colonial regime. Thus, the moral law give greater autonomy to the municipal government, the morates to decrease sec- secularize educations. Example, the same may be said of the place of the propaganda movement for the civil liberties and representations in the Spanish Cortes. Since the liberalism liberalism was based on rationalism, it gave little importance to faith, virtue, and supernatural order. Further, it says that man could reach God through his reason and moral sense alone. There was no need of the visible church to interpret the truths of revelation to guide him. Naturally, this is false, and the fears and the prayers as faithful ministers of the church upheld a Catholic teachings against wrong liberal principles and opposed and fought the ideas of the liberalism. So, the Suez Canal is a man-made waterway connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Oceans by the Red Sea. It enables a more direct route for shipping between Europe and Asia, effectively allowing for passage from the North Atlantic to the Indian Oceans without having the circumnavigate circumnavigate the African continent. So, what is the purpose of the Suez Canal? So, in the Philippines. So the purpose of Suez Canal in the Philippines, in order which is to connect the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, making it the shortest maritime route to Asia from Europe. Since its completions in 1869, it has become one of the world's most heavily and shipping lines. And that's all our assigned topic. Thank you.
People involved in opening the port to world trade. Manila Port, 1899. Who are these people involved in opening the ports in world trade? The good and quite modern King Charles III of Spain was the one who created the company, and his goal was to make trade to Spain from the Philippines more efficient. Governor General Felix Berenguer de Marquina recommended that the King of Spain opened Manila to world commerce. Su Majestad or Your Majesty the King declared the Royal Company of the Philippines abolished and opened Manila's port to world trade. Governor General Basco had opened the Philippines to this trade. Sibir, 1789, a Frenchman conducted a profitable business in Manila. Thomas de Comen, 1789, a Spanish writer, in his book published in Madrid, 1920, mentioned and a named English merchant who left the Philippines in 1789 after leaving the Manila for 20 years, during which became rich. George W. Hubble, 1821, an American businessman, and his younger brother Henry arrived in Manila, engaged in business, and founded the Hubble Company. Previously, the Spanish prevented other foreigners from residing in the Philippines provinces or running businesses there. They were not applicable to Chinese immigrants, but they did apply to other white men. Philippines opened to world trade by a royal decree issued on September 6, 1834, where King of Spain, King Charles III, announced the Royal Company of the Philippines annulled and opened Manila's port to world trade. Manila became the best city to exchange with, drawing American, British, and other European and Asian traders to its shores. Thus, Spain's monetary incomparability lost its balance in the district. Modern production and transportation methods, particularly sugar mills and steamships, allowed the Philippines to grow economically. Traders from the United Kingdom, France, the Netherlands, and North America started to demand Philippine agricultural products such as sugar, cigars, and abaca, Manila hemp. Sugar became the leading export crop. In 1834, Spain lifted restrictions on trade between foreign nationals and the Philippines. The opening of the Philippines to the world trade had a great part in the Philippine economy. The Philippines economy grew quickly and local industries formed to meet the demands of an industrializing Europe. The people's quality of living increased as they prospered. Several shops opened in Binondo and the rest of the Intramuros. The areas outside the Intramuros region became this time, resulting in significant economic development in the Philippines. The best part that some of them were also operated by Filipino entrepreneurs with expertise in finance and consumer retail. Manila increased in population as more people came to settle in the city and profited from trade. On July 1, 1788, Felix Berenguer de Marquina arrived in Manila and assumed his post as Governor-General of the Philippines. De Marquina made Manila an open port to all foreign commerce. Manila and Cavite were fortified and the Spanish military force increased. Marquina took much pain to have the obras pious honestly administered. He ordered that the nipa houses, which still existed within the walls of Manila, should be torn down, being both of disfigurement and danger to the city. During his term of office, a severe epidemic of smallpox was experienced in the islands. He gave large sums of the parish priests to relieve the property caused by the pestilence. The island during this time were ravaged by the Moros year after year, and naval force of the Spaniards doing little more than to remain on the defensive. He wrote the king in 1789 saying that the continual warfare of the Moros was an evil without remedy. It is recorded that the terms of Basco, his predecessors, and Marquinas in all 15 years spent over 1,500,000 pesos fuertes in building and arming vessels to chastise the pirates. The reform of the chief's accountancy by limiting its exorbitant powers, the establishment of the acordado, or a sort of police in provinces directed rather to intimidating and restraining criminals by means of vigilance than the punishing them with harshness and violence. Jose Vasco y Vargas, first count of the conquest of Batanes Islands, was a naval officer of the Spanish Navy who served as the 53rd governor of the Spanish Philippines under the Spanish Empire from 1778 to 1787.